Let's do those gather triangle blocks. Hi everyone, Cristin Tom here, and we are continuing with our November Table Topper Cuties. So now that we have our inner borders on, it is time to do those big triangle blocks. It's always the biggest part of this project, our cuties. So we are going to do the gather blocks. The gather blocks are on page 39 of our book here. So grab your packet if you made packets. This one has pretty good amount to it, but not too much. I think it should be pretty doable. So we have to make 4 of these, of course, and they can only be done 1 per hooping because they're so large. So they do take up the most amount of time, but that's okay. We got this, right? All right, so let's go over what we need. So our first thing that we need is our main fabric. So our main fabric is just a cream silky solid, a very simple cream silky solid, no design on it. And this one, we're going to start with that 13 by 13. Make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. And what I did is I did my fusible stabilizer, I cut it a 1/2 inch smaller than the 13 by 13, so 12.5 by 12.5 for my stabilizer. And then I can easily see which side is the stabilizer and which side is the main fabric. All right, a little tip there. So if you just cut your stabilizer a little bit smaller, you can see that we have that 1/4 inch on each side that it shows without the stabilizer. Makes it very easy to see the backing. So 13 by 13 for our main fabric. And then what we'll do is we will subcut these right before we start. So from diagonal to diagonal, we will subcut these. All right, and then we'll have 4 triangle pieces from our 2 large squares. All right, and then next up we have our applique pieces. So our applique pieces, the first one is the large leaves, and this is the lighter yellow. It doesn't look very light, but when you compare it with the other one, it is, and I have a call. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right, so the lighter one, you can see the darker. So it's not much of a difference, but you can see a little bit of a difference. So this, the first one for the large leaves, is the lighter of the 2. And this one, we're going to have 4 pieces at 3.5 by 3.5. I did decide to stabilize my fabrics. You can choose to do that or not. It's up to you. So 4 pieces. This is for the large leaves. 4 pieces at 3.5 by 3.5. All right, that's the first one. Then the next one is that darker yellow, darker gold, I should say. Keep getting calls, sorry. All right, so 4 pieces. This one is for the small leaves, and this one we're going to have 4 pieces at 2.5 by 3. 4 pieces, 2.5 by 3. Again, I did back mine with fusible stabilizer, totally optional for you. All right, 4 pieces, 2.5 by 3 for the small leaves. And now I'm getting messages, so it's like Grand Central Station here today. Oh my goodness. All right. So next up, we have the Orange Spice Velveteen. All right. This was in our fabric kit that came from our sponsor, My Girlfriend's Quilt Shop. So make sure to get your fabric kit from our sponsor. Then you'll get all the supplies included. So Orange Spice Velveteen, this is for the oak leaf, and we want 4 pieces at 1.5 by 2. I didn't pre-cut mine. I figured we can only do 1 triangle at a time anyway, so I'm just going to lay it down and cut what I need and then lay it down on the next one, and then I'm going to end up having some extra velveteen. So do what works for you, but you do want 4 pieces at 1.5 by 2 if you decide to cut first. All right, that's for the oak leaf. And then same thing with the glitter vinyl. I decided not to cut it. But if you do cut it, then you want 4 pieces that are 1.5 by 1.5. 4 pieces, 1.5 by 1.5. And this is for the acorn. All right. And like I said, I didn't pre-cut mine. I'm just going to lay it down and trim around the acorn piece and then save the rest and use it for each of the 4 different triangle blocks. Don't forget, when you use the applique vinyl, you want to always make sure to take off that top coating. And I got it. So you can see, make sure to take this off before you start your applique piece. All right. So that's it for the applique piece. It's not that bad, right? Not too much. All right, but they are 4 large triangle blocks, so they do take some time for sure. And then we need our batting. So our batting, we're going to have 4 pieces of batting that are 7 1/4 by 13 1/2. 4 pieces, 7 1/4 by 13 1/2, and it's just a big rectangle. It will be a triangle after we tack it down and trim. That's what will make it into a triangle. All right, so for now, just big rectangle pieces of batting, 7 1/4 by 13 1/2, and you want 4, 1 for each of the blocks that we need today. And then that's it. So the quilting design, let's see, what is our quilting for today? Triangle leaf. That will be pretty. Triangle leaf. All right, and I've chosen cream. So cream was not part of, I mentioned this in the prep video that there were 8 little boxes for our threads that we were supposed to choose from, and I added a cream one only because of these triangle blocks. I don't want to have my quilting stand out on the triangle blocks just because there is thin writing on this one, and so if there's thin writing, that quilting is going to go over it, and it could get lost in the wording. So I don't want to overtake that, and so that's why I chose to add a cream, is for these triangle blocks. So I'm going to use that for my quilting today. So one other thing is, we do, just like every month I've mentioned, we have to move the embroidery design on the quilting for this one, and so I'm going to bring you over to the the computer to be able to show you just how to move it or where to move it. You can do that on your machine, absolutely. This will just give you a visual of where it needs to move to on that triangle block. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer, and like I said, I'm just going to show you real quick how to move or where to move the design. So let's go ahead and open up Embellishment Essentials so that you can see Archer's ready for his walk. So I'm going to do this quick. So down here at the bottom, it says I'm on my 9 by 14 hoop. That's what I'm going to go ahead and stay on. So I'm just going to move this over a bit. If you're not on the hoop size you want, go to this preferences folder, click on the hoop size you want and say okay, and then click on this compass button and click on H for hoop. So I'm going to go to merge stitch file, and I'm going to bring in the triangle. Actually, I'm going to bring in my quilting. Sorry about that, my mistake. So let's see. Quilting, centers and triangles, and I want November. Right there. All right, and there we go. All right, there's the 8 by 12. Here's the 9 by 14. I'm going to double click on that. It goes to the center. And then I'm going to go to merge stitch file, and I'm going to bring in the embroidery design. So let's see, right there, embroidery files, Pez, and we're looking for the gather design. There it is right there. Double click on that. It goes to the center. Now see, it needs to be rotated and moved. So I'm going to just click on just the embroidery design. So this number 2 here, click on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate it first. So this left rotate button here, this arrow, I'm going to click on that. And you can see that it's too low. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard so that I can keep it centered. You can see from this, the black squares here, that it is centered already, and it's got this little tick mark that helps. So I'm just going to use my left arrow button. Click outside, click back on number 2. Once you rotate it, you can't move it with your arrow keys for some reason. So I'm going to go ahead and just move it with my arrow keys until it looks like it is right on that outer line. So this outer line here, this is the placement and tack down of the main fabric, and that's the line that we're aiming for with these placement guides for us. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in just to make sure I'm on it, and I am, and that was super easy. Okay, you can see that it is all centered. Like I said, we want it on the outermost line, this outermost line here, and using this tick mark to make sure that it keeps centered. All right, that was very easy to do. All right, so that's all good. I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as. We don't need to do a color sort or anything like that. So I'm going to do file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to say 9 by 14, gather triangle, save. All right, that was super easy. So while I'm here, I'm going to do the 8x12 one as well for those of you that are using the 8x12, and so that I can get both of my machines going so I can get these done a little bit quicker. So I'm going to go to File, New Page, and I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to find the quilting design. Let's see. All right, so the centers and triangles November. And I'm going to open up the 8x12 one right there, double click on that, it goes to the center, and then I'm going to go to this first design. Since it's already all centered, I'm going to say Control C, I'm clicking on just number 2, just the embroidery design, and then go back to that Untitled 2 tab and say Control V like victory to paste it. All right, and it's right on the lines that it needs to be, so that was super duper easy. So I'm going to do a File, Save Stitch File As, and I'm going to say 8x12, gather, triangle, save. All right, how easy was that? All right, and this first one, I'm going to go ahead and send it to my machine. I'm just clicking outside so that nothing is selected. I'm not sure, you probably don't need to do that, but why not? And then Utility, send to Celery, and say OK. If you don't have a machine with that function, you would just save it to your USB stick and bring it over to your machine. Super easy. So let's go ahead and get started stitching. And how are you doing with your goal? I am just doing walks this week. I'm taking it easy this week and really focusing on catching up on our projects. But lots of walks with my dog. So that certainly counts, right? I mentioned yesterday, move your body. Whatever that takes, move your body. It will give you endorphins, which are like happy pills. It makes it so that you can handle stress. You can handle all of the things that life is throwing at us, and it makes you feel good too, and it keeps you warmer too. I find that I get really cold if I sit too long. Is that just me? Anyway, how are you doing with your goal? And my shirt today, this one is my Brave and Strong shirt. It's my Cancer shirt that I made last year. I think the design was So Cute Appliques. It might be Hoop Mama. I don't recall, to tell you the truth, but I will find it and put the information underneath this video for you. The sweater is from my local Fred Meyer a couple of years ago. I think it's a Under Armour one, so it's pretty nice. I like this sweater. It's a good sweater. Anyway, I will add information as soon as I find it of where I got the embroidery design for the shirt.